right, my stats peeps, here we go. We're talking about 1.4 Introduction into Simulations, and this is how we simulate random events, okay, in statistics. So, why do we simulate? It is a way to model random events, and that is the biggest thing right there. Let me get my marker going. Yeah, this is how we model our random events, okay? Um, so by observing simulated outcomes, researchers can make generalizations about the real world. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate random events using, of course, the coin, the rolling a dice, the spinner, and I'm definitely going to show you the calculator here in just a second. But we're going to use these things to model random events, and from that we can make our generalizations about real world events or populations, or specifically what we like to do, an athlete's actual ability. Definitely more to say there, but I'll end it and let's just keep it simple. Here we go. Using the spinner. Now, technically, you'd want to split up 360 degrees and figure out how much of that 62%. I'm just going to eyeball this. So I'm going to put a point right about there. Let's bring this line straight down. 62, let's go this way. It's going to be definitely more than 50, so I'm just going to chunk it off like that. So 62% of the time, you drive the speed limit. I'm just going to put it check. So that's the good side. Now, if that's 62 over there, that means the difference is going to be 38%. That means you are not driving the speed limit. Okay, so here we're good. Here, let's just hope you got good insurance. So now, if you were to spin the spinner one time, you could definitely land at either one, right? But you got a higher chance of landing on this side, which is, of course, driving the speed limit, which would make sense because, of course, you drive the speed limit more than half of the time, so your chances are better over here. And then, if you wanted to simulate 20 times, you would basically just spin the spinner 20 different times, and you would record how many times you land on whichever side. Okay. Let's move on to the Earth. So another way to simulate. And this one I think we'll simulate it. We'll do this with the spinner and the calculator. Need to explain a few things here. So they say the Earth is covered 72% of the water. So if I were to fall from the sky randomly, I'd have a much greater chance of hitting land, excuse me, of hitting the water, because there's a lot more water, than hitting land, okay? So on the spinner, it's going to look just like that last problem. You're going to take a spinner, you're going to basically split it up into two regions. 72 is going to be almost 3/4, so I'm going to go a little harder that side. So 72% of the time, you're going to be landing in some high quality H2O. And then that means 28% of the time you're going to be landing on something pretty rough. Okay, so there's your land. So that's what you do with a spinner. And if you want to do it 100 times, then you're physically going to spin this 100 times. If they want 1,000, you're definitely going to spin it 1,000 times, and you're going to record the results. We're going to talk about the calculator, though. So hang on, let me go one more slide, then I'll come back. So if you're going to use the graphing calculator, you're going to start off with the math button, which is going to be over here to the left side. You're going to scroll over to a lot of versions is PRB, some versions you'll see prob, and then you're going to scroll down to, and I think it's usually the fifth option. Usually the fifth option. And you can just scroll down, hit enter, or you can just punch in 5 and it'll take you right there. But basically, this is what you want it to look like right here. So I'm going to skip it down to right here. You're going to see on a lot of versions the commas. Some versions you'll see like a little list, and I'll show you that here too. But with the commas, here's what it means. The starting number is 1, your ending number is 100, which means you want to choose randomly a number from low end 1 up to the high end 100. That's what that means. And since we're talking about percent, we'll definitely go from 1 to 100, okay? And then the last number, after the second column here, the last number is going to be how many simulations you are using or how many numbers you simulate. So they wanted 10, so we're going to have a 10 right here. That's what it would look like. Now going back, here's how you need to look at it. You're going to be choosing a number from 1 all the way up to 100, right? And 72 is going to be further over here, so I'm going to bring down 72 right here. So look at it like this. From 1 to 100, that is basically means you are landing in the water. Which means, and we're not doing decimals by any means, which means from 73 on, so from 73 on to the other in 100, you are definitely going to be on land. That's how you need to look at it. Okay, so we're going to be simulating a lot of numbers. Any number that's between 1 to 72 represents you landing in water. Any number from 73 to 100 represents you landing on land. So let's go back to the calculator. And actually, I'll leave it right here. Let's go to this calc. Let's go to the simulator. So here we go, math button. And we're going to scroll over to Little Far Coach. Prob on this one, and again, that's what you're looking for right there, the 5th item. So I'm just going to punch in a 5. So this is my first look here. So if you see this list, it's going to be very specific. 1, of course, is your lower end from 1 to 100, upper end. And this has us choosing 100 items. Definitely need to change that. We're only choosing 10. So a little adjustment here. So let's punch it in. 10, enter. And then you're definitely going to hit enter again. So paste. And now a lot of calculators will start you right off with this look. So again, 1's the lower end, 100's the upper end. We're choosing 10 randomly. So make sure that looks good, and then you hit enter again. So notice you got 68, 20, 43, 100. And so if you're thinking about the 72%, that means that any number less than 72 means water. So 68 is you landing in water, 20 is water, 43 is water. 100 is greater though, right? That's going to land in the 73 up to 100. So that's land, back to water, 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 and then let's see here, arrow over. 5 is definitely in the water. 36 is definitely in the water. And 8 is definitely in the water. So think about it. We did a simulation of 10 random numbers, and only one time did we land on land. Now that's definitely more than 72%. But if you were to re-simulate this 100 times and then simulate 1,000 times, as you increase the number of simulations, this sort of goes into a concept called the law of large numbers, which means you will definitely gain accuracy. And as you increase the law of large numbers, you should come back to 72%. You should get really close. So our first simulation 10 though, what only happened one time we landed on land. So 90% of the time we land in the water. That's just with 10 simulations. And again, with 100 and 1,000, as you increase simulations, you should get more accurate. All right, but that's how you make a spinner, and that's how you use a calculator. Good luck with your studies.